Heading into the final month of the legislative session, state lawmakers still do not have a plan to fund state government. Budget negotiators from the House, Senate, and the governor's office continue to meet, but it's become apparent the legislature will have to make some tough decisions in the coming weeks to fill a budget hole of at least $1.3 billion.
Scores of Oklahomans roamed the halls of the state capitol on Wednesday, part of a grassroots effort to encourage action on the state budget. Wearing red "Let's Fix This" buttons, the group met with various lawmakers, urging them to do something to solve Oklahoma's budget crisis. Budget negotiators insist they are making progress, but House Minority Leader Scott Inman believes they're not moving fast enough.
There's not been one bill put on the House floor or even in the House Appropriations and Budget Committee to backfill this budget hole. We've dealt with a lot of other stuff. I kind of call it silly season, when we deal with the things that get front page news and embarrass some of our constituents as to why in the world they're doing things like that. But actually closing the $1.3 billion hole, there's not been one bill so far this year to do that.
Inman and Senate Minority Leader John Sparks have issued an invitation to budget negotiators to attend a public budget meeting next week at the Capitol.
If we get the governor and legislative Republican leaders in the room, we hope that they finally will hear our solutions to solving the budget problem, and that they'll share with us some of their ideas. Instead of just discussing amongst themselves in a backroom closed-door deal, we want to have that open discussion.
House Appropriations and Budget Chair Earl Sears says he's willing to listen, but refutes claims they haven't been focused on the state's budget problems.
There's just nothing could be further from the truth. We're just constantly working on the budget, discussing the budget, looking at all the options, what we can do and what we can't do.
2 weeks ago, Governor Mary Fallin released her Executive Budget 2.0, suggesting a big part of the budget hole could be filled by issuing bonds for transportation projects, freeing up money for other uses. Sears says some borrowing will be part of any budget agreement.
The bonding of transportation is the one solution that we have in this fiscal year that will help us reduce some of the high cuts that could possibly go to state agencies.
Sears says negotiators are considering between $200 and $300 million in transportation bonds. As far as House Democrats are concerned, any borrowing to fill the state's budget hole is too much.
It just is fiscally irresponsible, and I don't believe that's a solution. Borrowing our way out of debt is not the solution to this year's budget problems.
Sears says there are other options to generate revenue, but concedes many will come too late to help next fiscal year's budget, although he believes they will help with future budgets.
There's some tax reform. There is some reform on some tax credits. There's some reform on some exemptions. And all of those and that reform will allow us to have more money in the state budget.
Inman says Democrats support eliminating some tax credits. They also want the state to accept Medicaid expansion and the federal dollars that go with it, roll back the state income tax cut, which took effect in January, and index the state gross production tax to the price of oil.
So that way when the oil goes up, their taxes they pay go up, and our schools and our roads and bridges, our hospitals can benefit. When the oil goes back down, the taxes will go back down so you don't hurt the industry. We think that's fair.
Another proposal that's been floated as part of a plan to protect the Oklahoma Health Care Authority is a hike in the state's cigarette tax. But Sears says they don't have enough votes in the House for that to happen anytime soon.
I do not believe that we can pass that off the floor. But I think if we pass anything, it would pass in regards to sending to the vote of to the people to make that decision if they want to raise that particular tobacco tax.
Still, Sears insists any cuts to the Health Care Authority will be held to less than 15%.
We will not cut the Health Care Authority that deep and allow our programs and our rates that it hurts the programs of our senior citizens and the health care needs of the people of this state. We just will not allow that to happen.
Negotiators also intend to limit cuts to education to under 5%. But Sears admits that means other state agencies will likely face higher cuts.
In some cases, it could be double digit, but that will not be the overwhelming number in our budget.
Sears says the first budget bills could surface in the House within the next few days.